How far in advance do you really need to plan your Disney vacation? Today, I'm going to tell you all about the perfect Disney vacation planning timeline. This is the timeline that I recommend all of my clients use and the timeline that I try to use for my own personal trips. Hello there, and to all who come to this happy place, welcome. My name is Abby, and I'm a travel agent with Looking Glass Travel. I've been helping families plan the perfect Disney vacation for a couple years now, and I kind of have it down to a science, if I do say so myself. There's definitely the right way and the wrong way to plan a Disney vacation, and luckily I have a lot of practice, so I've kind of learned the ropes. And today, I'm going to tell you all about the timeline, because the timeline is pretty important when it comes to price and the experience that you're going to have in Disney. So we all know that a Disney vacation is a rather expensive endeavor, especially if you have a larger party. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is kind of establish your budget. And this can be done anywhere, this can be done years in advance, because then you can start saving. The sooner you have a budget, the sooner you can start putting money aside. So at least a year in advance, I would try to start thinking, even if you don't have dates, thinking about where you'd like to stay, what resort tier that you want to be in. If you want to stay in a value resort, you might be able to take a longer trip, or you might be able to take a trip sooner than if you were to stay in a deluxe resort. A deluxe resort might mean that you're going to stay for a couple days less, or it might mean you're pushing your trip out a year. So these are important things to consider so that you kind of can get a timeline of how long it's going to take you to save up. Once you do have a date in mind, your hotel room can actually be booked 499 days in advance. I recommend that clients do book this far out for a couple of reasons. One, it helps you to kind of start knowing that you're going, and it puts you in the mindset of, I'm saving for my Disney vacation, this is when I'm going. It also guarantees that you get the room kind that you want, because even if packages aren't out, people can still take those rooms. And popular rooms like the Little Mermaid standard rooms at Art of Animation do tend to go fast. For example, even though 2020 packages are not out yet, I've booked a bunch of different clients, and what I'm noticing is that February is almost completely gone for the value resorts already. It's crazy. So I'm definitely recommending that anyone that wants to go in early 2020 book as soon as possible. Really, your hotel reservation should be done about 6 to 7 months before you go, because at that 6-month or 180-day mark, that's when you can start booking your dining reservations, your tours, and your enchanting extras like Bippity Boppity Boutique and Pirates League. All three of these things are super important to do right at that 180-day mark, because the spots do fill up. Last weekend, I booked a client for October whose 180-day mark would have been about a week before, and she wanted to do Bippity Boppity Boutique with her daughter. And when I called to set that up, there was one time left for the entire day. So it's really important that if these things are things that you want to do, being character dining, those enchanting extras, and tours, they need to be booked at 180 days. There's no negotiation there. If you do end up booking later than that, then it's just gonna take a lot more labor intensiveness to book those things, because someone, whether it's you or your travel professional, is going to have to be stalking the reservations, calling in for that Bippity Boppity Boutique reservation for those tours, and hoping that you find a spot before you travel. If you do book after that 180-day mark, there's really no guarantee that you'll be able to get everything that you wanted in terms of those reservations. But by working with a travel professional, we have tools that we use that alert us when things do open up. So that's one great perk to working with an agent. Before that 6-month mark, it's a great idea to be researching the things that you want to do. So looking at all the different character dining options, which I did a video all about all the character dining options, which I will link in the cards up here. But I'm also going to be doing an Enchanting Extras video and a video on all of my top recommended tours. So if you are interested in that, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss that. That's coming in the next few weeks. Also around that 6-month mark, the park hours will be released. These are subject to change, so a lot of times I get emails constantly that the hours are changing for our trip. I was getting emails up until like the day before we left for our March trip that the water park hours were changing. And we weren't doing the water parks, but it was just, I was getting emails that, hey, park hours have changed. Usually they are increasing. I've never noticed them decreasing, but it's based on the crowd prediction and such, because if they aren't gonna have that many guests in the park, it's gonna take you less time to do the things that you want to do, so they don't have to open the park for as long. But if it's gonna be super busy, you're gonna be less efficient and you're gonna need more time to get everything done. Having access to those different park hour schedules will help you with narrowing down which park you wanna be in which day, which will in turn help you schedule dining and Enchanting Extras reservations. The next thing that you're going to want to book is your flights. Now, flights depend on the airline, because the problem is some airlines do release their flights up to a year in advance, but if they are one of the only airlines that has released flights, there's a supply and demand problem. So they can charge whatever they want because the people that are buying the tickets don't have a lot of choices anyway. So I recommend buying them anywhere from 4 to 6 months before your trip. 6 months, if they are released around 6 months, that's a good time if you have a large party that wants to fly together, because you want to make sure that you can get the most amount of tickets for the cheapest price. But if you're a smaller party, I tend to book mine 3 to 4 months in advance because I'm more flexible. I tend to travel by myself or with one other person because I go down for work all the time. So having that flexibility sometimes leads to price decreases. I try to buy flights on Tuesdays because I've noticed prices are less, and I also try to fly on Tuesdays. Obviously, if you are driving, you don't need to worry about any of that. But having that flight itinerary in the back of your mind is a good idea. Once your flight is booked, anytime up to 30 days before, you should book your Magical Express reservation. Your travel agent can also do this. I do it for all my clients as long as they send me their flight info. But doing it 30 days in advance means that you will get your luggage tags in the mail. They're the bright yellow tags that have a barcode on them so that Disney can scan them and put your bags right in your room. Now, if you do end up flying in last minute and you don't have time to get those luggage tags in the mail, you can give your baggage claim ticket to Disney. This also works if you just forgot your tags. But you just give the baggage claim ticket to Disney when you get to the Magical Express to check in there, and they will retrieve the bags for you. So this is not a huge deal if you miss that, but you should try to, do that a month before. 60 days before is when stuff starts getting exciting. It's time to book your FastPass reservations. I would recommend looking into the different rides, attractions, shows, etc. about a month before so that you have time to watch ride-through videos, watch shows on YouTube, everything to figure out what is a must-do on your itinerary. It also gives you time to communicate with your travel professional so that you know who is making what reservations and what members of your party want to experience which different things. I like to have the conversation with my clients about a week before. I have automated emails that go out for FastPass reservations and dining. They go out 7 days before the booking date, just so that it sparks a conversation and we can talk about exactly what they want. 60 days out, you can also complete your online check-in. This is a really great option, especially if you're going to be going right to the parks when you get to the hotel. Then you don't have to wait in line at the front desk, which saves you a lot of time and lets you get right to the magic. You should note this is only for guests staying on property, which I always recommend because who doesn't want a little more magic in their vacation? At least 35 days before your trip, you need to select your Magic Band colors, again, if you're staying on property. The Magic Bands can be customized the second you link your reservation to your My Disney Experience account, but they will start shipping them at about 30 to 35 days out. So you want to make sure that the names are updated and the colors if you so choose to do so. Magic Bands, for those of you that don't know, act as your room key, your park ticket, your dining plan, your photo keeper. They scan it for Memory Maker, all of that fun stuff. You can also charge to your room. So Magic Bands are kind of your key to Walt Disney World, and they are super exciting and super important. I like to choose my color based on how I'm going to decorate the band, so that's also another option to keep in mind. You can paint them with nail polish, you can put stickers on them, whatever you want to do. But, keep that in the back of your mind time-wise that you need to do that if that is something that you want to do. At least 30 days before, like I said, you need to provide that flight information to the Magical Express. If you're staying off property, you'll book your fast passes at that 30-day mark. And if you're staying on property in a package, then you're going to have your final payment paid by the 30-day mark as well. About 2 weeks before your trip, you should start thinking about if you're going to be ordering groceries or diapers or anything from any of the external grocery services. So Instacart, Garden Grocer, Amazon Prime Now, which is our first choice, that's what we always use. But start putting that order together. And if you're not using Amazon Prime Now, you may want to submit it before then. If you're doing Amazon Prime Now, we've done it from the Magical Express to have the delivery there when we get to the resort. A week before your trip, it's time to start packing, if not before. I pack way before that. And then, well, I start packing like 2 weeks before, and then I don't finish packing until like 10 minutes before. It's fine. I'm a procrastinator. It's all good. But start packing. You should make your packing list about 2 weeks before, because then you're less likely to forget things if you kind of have a running list going. I always have a list and then end up adding to it as we get closer, because I realize that I forgot to add something to the list that's supposed to help me remember. So start making the list before you're actually going to pack, because then you won't get overwhelmed. We always fly out the morning of. We fly out super early in the morning, usually the like 6:10 a.m. flight. So I like to put my bag in the car the night before and then just bring out in the morning exactly what is left that I needed that morning. And then you're on your way to Disney and you're gonna have a magical time. So if any of this sounded confusing or overwhelming, I'm happy to help you with your planning timeline. You can always email me. I'll leave my email in the description down below as usual. You can also message my Facebook page, and I will help you with managing all of this. Working with a travel agent is a great way to not get overwhelmed, because we know the timeline inside and out and can really help to make sure that you don't forget anything, because that would be tragic. If you are planning a Disney trip, I would highly recommend that you subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any future planning content, and make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I hope you all have a magical weekend, and I will talk to you guys on Tuesday with my next video. Bye!